Well, if it isn't another game based on an anime. If you've been following me for a while, you already know how big of a sucker I am for these types of games. It's a fascinating experience being able to explore a universe you've only ever seen parts of in 2D. However, they typically aren't the best kind of video games you could be playing. They rely more on fan service at the end of the day, and their audience are mainly people like me who should know better by now. With that being said, Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time is fairly competent. It's not an amazing must-own title by any means, but I think it's a good candidate for the video game based on anime Hall of Fame, alongside the great Dynasty Warriors Gundam 3. Wait a minute, where is Little Witch Academia? Oh, that's right. Now I remember the horrible truth. Apparently, Bandai Namco didn't have enough faith in this game to give it a physical release in the West. It can only be found on PSN and Steam as a digital download. They also didn't record an English dub either, which we'll get into later in this video. Bandai Namco cared so little about this game that they basically put no advertising into its release. I only wanted to put it on my damn shelf, Bandai Namco. Was that so much to ask for? Sachi was devastated. Her only purpose in life was to stack my shelves with video games, and now she has nothing. Look at her. Look at that cold, empty shell of a woman.
You know I have friends and family, and a life outside of this job, right?
So this is a full $60 game that's both digital and Japanese audio only. It's a tough sell for many, but is it a worthwhile one? Little Witch Academia is an absolutely fantastic anime by the esteemed Studio Trigger. It follows a girl named Atsuko Kaguri and her adventures as a student at Lunanova Magical Academy. It's kind of like Harry Potter, but much more fun and without the obnoxious fanbase. The LWA fanbase is all about those Yuri ships. One of the main draws of the short films, and more recently the anime series, is the highly expressive and downright adorable animation style. This was the main aspect that the game had to nail to be in any way faithful to the show, and they did a great job. The character models retain much of the expressiveness of their 2D counterparts. Obviously it was never going to look as good, but for a video game it's very pleasant to look at. They even mimic the jerky look of the show's frame rate, a stylistic choice that has become quite popular recently, mainly because of garbage CGI anime that desperately wants to look half as good as traditional 2D animation. But I digress. Chamber of Time is an inconsequential side story to the original series. The cast unwittingly discover a chamber hidden in the library that reverses time at the end of each day, and much of the story is about them trying to break this time loop. The gameplay is split into two sections: an adventure field where you get to explore Lunanova as Akko, and a side-scrolling RPG beat-em-up section, where you can play as any of the 7 female leads. I'll start by talking about the strongest aspect of the game, which are these adventure sections. This is also the aspect of the game that delivers on the fan service. You run all around of Lunanova and handle a variety of quests. Some of these are related to the main storyline, but most of them are optional side quests. It's in this location where you'll spend most of the game, and I have mixed feelings about this. It's a cool location and fans of the show will get a kick out of it. It's fun just looking around and talking to all of the minor characters. They all have something interesting to say, and this is enhanced by the fact that every single line of dialogue is voiced. There are some AAA games that don't even do this, so to find this amount of effort in what is kind of a cash-in title is laudable. This is probably the reason there isn't an English dub, sadly. As much as I love the English cast of the anime, it's obvious dubbing the vast amounts of dialogue here would have been a massive job. So I forgive you, Bandai Namco, at least in regards to the dub. I don't forgive you for not letting me play this on a disc though. Of course, the main cast is very well defined and close to their anime counterparts. so it's a lot of fun interacting with them and getting new bits of characterization. However, I found myself more interested in some of the random background characters you come across, such as the girl obsessed with ninjas. It's clear they put a lot of loving detail into really fleshing out the students in the academy and making it feel authentic to the show. The locations in the game are almost identical to the show. Not 100% per se, which I only noticed because I'm a massive nerd, but close enough. The Groundhog Day premise is used to do some interesting things. At first, it seemed like a cheap in-universe reason for why everyone's doing the same things every day, but you do have to use it to your advantage to finish some quests. Certain side quests requires that Akko has previous knowledge of the day in order to progress. The Lucky Coin Hunt side quest is a good example. You have to collect all 7 lucky coins in one day, and some of these can only be found after you find someone else who has already found one. Ask them where they got it, and then take it before they can when time restarts. The concept is used for a whole bunch of shenanigans, and I just love the lack of urgency Akko has. She's perfectly happy to use this opportunity to pull pranks just because she can, and go on convoluted side quests for no reason. It feels incredibly in character for her. Most of the quests in the game involve running from one place to the next. Some events will only become available at certain times of the day. Time is always passing in the game as long as you aren't speaking to someone or in the menus. There are 7 different periods of time where events in the academy will change. This applies to both the main quests and the sub-quests. You'll know when you've entered a new block of time because the game will tell you in the most obnoxious way possible. A la Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. The main quest revolves around investigating something called the 7 Wonders of Luna Nova, which are spooky supernatural events that have been happening around the academy. Besides running around the school and talking to characters, you'll also have to solve puzzles at certain points. These involve Akko using a certain type of magic when you see these circles. You may also have to go dungeon crawling to find certain items. But all of this stuff is capped with brand new animation by Studio Trigger. This acts as a nice reward for progressing the story. I would recommend checking out the main quests and some of the side quests as well. However, I would stop there. I like to be thorough, so I decided to finish all 70-something side quests in this game. And it was a total chore. There are some ridiculous ones that require endless amounts of grinding. Word of advice, always put points into drop luck. Exploring the academy starts to wear thin after a while, especially with the overuse of music from the show, and the painfully long loading times. Every time you enter a new room, there's a loading screen. Eventually you gain the ability to quick travel around the academy, but it has its limitations. You're only able to quick travel to certain locations that have save points. I can see some people getting annoyed by this, but I didn't mind it too much. It's mainly those loading screens that drag it down. The map screen here should have all the information you need to advance quests. You just have to run to the locations that have events in them. Unfortunately, the game doesn't let you distinguish one sub-event from another. This doesn't matter with the main quests because you'll only ever have one on the map. But if you're like me and want to finish all those side quests, this is a huge pain. But no big deal. Since I'm doing them all anyway, it shouldn't matter too much. Well, here is the most frustrating part. A handful of side quests can be done an infinite number of times, and they're never removed from the map. This was the eternal thorn in my side while trying to finish all of them. I kept accidentally running to side quests I had already done, only to find I had wasted my time. This is a problem that could have easily been fixed. Just remove these side quests from the map, or change their icons to something else. There isn't even any point in finishing side quests multiple times because all of the rewards are useless. Overall, the visual novel segments are really entertaining, but you have to suffer through a lot of sluggish gameplay before getting to them. Next, let's talk about the RPG aspect of this game. This is a section that probably would have worked better as a turn-based JRPG. Instead, we got a side-scroller. It's okay. That's the nicest thing I can say about it, really. It acts as a nice break from exploring the academy, but it doesn't elevate the game in any meaningful way. You fight through dungeons with a party of 3 characters. You control the team leader and the AI controls the other 2. Very poorly, I might add. Each of the 7 characters has their own leadership traits. If you want to play through the game as your favourite girl, this mechanic might dissuade you. Some of these leadership traits are way more useful than others. For example, Lotte is the best character when farming items, since she can access these invisible treasure chests, while Diana is the complete opposite. Her leadership trait decreases the party's item drop luck. It's a shame because Diana is a force to be reckoned with. She never runs out of magic and can demolish any boss in seconds. You have weak, normal, and strong attacks. These become progressively more useless the higher level you get. Late game, I found myself exclusively using the horoscope magic, which you're able to equip up to 6 of. They are comprised of 4 elements, and attack in all sorts of ways. Some of them are concentrated around the caster, some act as projectiles, and some act as overpowered homing nukes. Rapid Fire and Dragonic Volcano are massively overpowered. The second you cast them, everything on screen is dead. Check out this big scary boss. This might actually be a challenge for the girls this time. Oh, it died instantly. I'm not gonna lie, it is entertaining how broken this game can be. You can purchase magic from the horoscope screen using points you get whenever a character levels up. There are character-specific magic attacks also, such as Akko's Shiny Arc. The main quest is comprised of 7 dungeons that have a variety of gimmicks to deal with. Some of these range from interesting, such as the water puzzle in the Shola Desert, to downright terrible, which is the case with the Regulus Mines. This dungeon has a simple concept that was executed in the worst way possible. You're on a rail car, and every now and then you have to pick the correct direction with these switches. You're attacked by enemies every once in a while, but you can spend several minutes here just standing around and not doing anything. Who thought this was a good idea? Outside of the main dungeons are side dungeons which can be accessed with lesser keys. They're mainly for grinding and item farming. So what do you get from all of this grinding? What's your reward? Well, you get money and items that can be used to enchant equipment at the lab. You can do stuff like boosting a weapon's attack or improve its drop luck. You don't really need to use this though, because the game is pretty easy, and the magic is already overpowered. Outside of this, you don't have much else to do with your pound coins. This is like the only game I've played that uses British pounds as its currency.
Luna.
Say what?
The currency is Luna, not pounds.
Huh? I'm not calling it that. That is the symbol of the quid. The Queen's tender. Next you'll be telling me it's European pounds or some other stupid name. So finally, I wanted to talk about my gripes with the gameplay, because it isn't the greatest. The hit detection feels off sometimes, and the enemies have far too many invincible frames. There'll be times when your magic just passes through them for no discernible reason. There are also some status ailments that stop you from hitting the enemy, Petrify being the most egregious. These are dumb because they're inflicted by your magic. They're meant to be helping you, but all they ever seem to do is shield the enemy and waste your time. You have to stand around and wait for them to unfreeze so you can finish them off. Another gripe I had was that it's really easy to knock enemies off screen, which prevents you from progressing to the next room since you have to defeat all the enemies. Now, they will eventually stroll back into frame, so it's not a game-breaking glitch or anything. But again, it's just a needless annoyance. It probably sounds like I hate the gameplay, and I don't really. It's not good, it's not terrible, it's smack dab in the middle. So, overall, I did enjoy this game. There's enough charming elements that keeps it from being an unpleasant experience. If parts of it were improved, I wouldn't hesitate in recommending it. As it stands, it's a recommendation, with the proviso that the stuff I've mentioned in this video doesn't drive you insane, and whenever you do, don't pay full price, it's not worth it. Wait for it to go on sale. Okay, I admit it, this Hall of Fame is a sham. The only reason this shelf has any games on it is because these types of games are usually much worse. I'm gonna be reviewing anime games forever, aren't I? I don't know why I'm saying that as if it's anyone's fault but my own. Anyway, Little Witch Academia Chamber of Time is a neat game. Check it out. Only if you're a fan of the show though. It does put a little effort into bringing you up to speed on the plot and characters, but the only people who would get anything out of this are fans of the show. Like me and my mouse mat. I got it at a con. Anyway, until next time.